Score more with the college-branded Venmo debit card and earn up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash. Got paid back? With the Venmo debit card, you can instantly access your balance and spend on what you want, like game day snacks, gear, tickets, and more. The more you do, the more cash back you can earn. Plus, there's no monthly fee or minimum balance. Sign up now at Venmo.com/collegecard. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. Select schools available. Venmo Stash terms and exclusions apply at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.
For the News and Observer, I'm Dawn Vaughan, your host for this episode of Under the Dome for the week of Monday, June 26, 2023. I'm here today with State House Representative John Bell, a Wayne County Republican who's also the House Majority Leader. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to be here with you.
For y'all that are watching the video version, we're sitting in his office in the LOB. Before we started recording, I noticed there's a bench in his office.
There is.
That maybe you've seen in the background of like some TV interviews, that sort of thing. It says Smith Warehouses. So where'd that bench come from?
So that bench was actually my grandfather's. My grandfather had a little service station out in Botank, North Carolina, which is in Duplin County, off Norwood Isle Road, and his name happened to be Norwood Isle. So
spell that?
Yeah, Norwood Isle.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my grandfather, and so I grew up sitting on that bench at the shop is what we called it. And that's where I learned a lot about life. Drank Pepsi out of a glass bottle and ate square nabs. And it was good memories. And so when my grandmother and grandfather both passed away. And so when we cleared out the shop, my cousin got the bench and then he gave it to me. And there it is today.
That's pretty cool.
And it's heard a lot of breaking stories because other members use our office to do interviews. And so there you go.
So Pepsi is a very North Carolina answer. Have you been to the...
Yes, I've been to the Pepsi store. I've been to New Bern. As a matter of fact, when I first got elected, I represented part of Craven County. And so I've got a sticker on my refrigerator at home that said, "Friends don't live, friends drink Coke."
Oh, okay.
So, I'm a Pepsi. I'm a North Carolina guy. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. I've noticed in the, we'll talk about the Legislative Cafeteria at the end, but they have both Pepsi and Coke products, which I assume is some sort of bipartisan soda thing.
I guess so. It must have been. The only time I got upset in the cafeteria is when they didn't order Mount Olive pickles. And so me being from Mount Olive, I wanted to make sure that our crown jewel was represented in the cafeteria. Plus, it just tastes better. So, yeah.
Do you go to isn't there the pickle drop on New Year's Eve?
So I've been to the pickle drop. The pickle company actually sits in Mount Olive at the corner of Cucumber and Vine. That's actually a real location. The pickle company is a huge success story, not just for our town, but, to have a small brand that turned into a regional brand that's now a worldwide brand. And it attracts people from all over the country and the world to come to our little town to watch the pickle drop and participate in the festivities. And we're real proud of the work the pickle company does day in and day out.
All right. So, of course, Bell grew up in Mount Olive. You went to UNC Wilmington. You've been in the House for 11-ish years, been Majority Whip since 2015. Well, started in 2015, then moved up to Majority Leader. Why'd you run at all? And how did you convince your caucus to make you Majority Leader?
So how did I run for office, period? So it's a very interesting story. In 2007, a gentleman by the name of Efton Sager, who was a local county commissioner, was going to run for State House. At the time, Representative Lewis Pate was looking at running for the state Senate. And so Efton was a good family friend of ours and came to me and said, "Hey, would you consider running my campaign?" I said, "I never ran a campaign." He said, "I never ran for state office." I said, "So we'll figure it out together." And that was going into the 2008 election. So I ran this campaign. We were successful in a time where a lot of Republicans were not in 2008. And then in 2010, Lewis Pate came to me and said, "Hey, would you love what you did with Efton? Would you consider running my campaign?" And so I worked with him in 2010 when the Senate and House flipped to Republican. And so got involved at local level that way, helping with campaigns, navigating through campaigns. Got active in the local party, was vice chair of the local party, and had a group of folks come to me and say, "Hey, we want you to run a race." And I said, "Great, who's the candidate?" They said, "We don't have one." I said, "Well, it's pretty interesting." So we met, talked about it. I put a great campaign plan together, and then ended up talking to my family and my wife about what it would look like if I ran for office. And so we jumped in, and I ran against a 3-term incumbent who was co-chair of the House Rules Committee and beat him in a Republican primary, I think by like 39 votes.
How'd you do that?
I worked my rear end off, knocked on doors, raised a little bit of money, went to every event I could go to meet people. At the time, that district was over 4 counties, so it was a pretty large area. Mm-hmm. I had a buddy of mine that knew how to work a computer and do graphics and play on the internet, and had another buddy of mine that liked politics, and we kind of put a ragtag campaign together, and just frankly outworked the incumbent. And so beat him in a very tight election, went through the whole process of recounts and canvasses and residency challenges and stressful nights. But at the end of the day, came out victorious, went on to win the general election, and there started my political story coming to Raleigh.
You think the caucus kind of saw what you did in your own election?
I remember when so we had a big freshman class when I got up here, and I remember running for a freshman whip. I was like, man, I can count. So 2 of them qualified to do that, and I got my butt kicked in the election. And so I spent the first year. It's my LA today. It was my LA then. And so I really learned a lot from her. She had been serving in the General Assembly at the staff level for a number of years, both in the House and Senate and clerk's office. So it was key for me to have somebody that knew the building. And so I spent the first 2 years really trying to understand the process, talking with members, getting to know members. And coming into my second term, our majority whip ran for majority leader. It was opening. I took a shot and was successful and then earned the trust of my colleagues, which helped lead me to become a majority leader when Representative Hager stepped out to go into the private sector.
I mean, you're pretty people that are, spend time in the building and follow North Carolina politics. You have this like pretty high leadership position, but you're kind of behind the scenes. You're not always wanting the cameras, essentially, not always wanting to talk to us. Why are you more?
Because I'm smart. No, I'm just joking. No,
now though.
Yeah.
So, well, why are you lower key? And is that just kind of political strategy? Is that just how you prefer to run things?
It's just me. I'm not. I joke with some other colleagues. The most dangerous place that you could be is between them and a TV camera. That's not me. So I just look at my job as majority leader different. So my job as majority leader is to help navigate the caucus's agenda and to make sure that there's 72 members of our caucus, to make sure that 71 other representatives get a job done for their district. Make sure that I work with them, make sure that I take the overall agenda, make sure that we make them successful. And so that's what I've done since I became majority leader. I work hard behind the scenes to help members be successful, answer questions. If they run into problems or snags along the way, help them navigate through that. They've got bills that are important to them. I want to help them be successful. So that's just what we do. It's how we've navigated through the process going into year number 12 now. So
seems like your priorities, just kind of in general, are the things that you talk the most on are about military, firefighters, hurricanes, floods. Is that just? Yeah,
everybody has a skill set up here and expertise. And, I joke in caucus that I'm the only one in the caucus that doesn't get an opinion, because as majority leader, my opinion is your opinion. Mm-hmm. And so if the majority of our members want to move forward on the issue, and that's what we do. But I didn't plan on being heavily involved in flood mitigation, disaster relief. It kind of fell my way after Hurricane Matthew devastated my area. And then you had Hurricane Florence and multiple hurricanes and natural disasters since. So I kind of got thrown into that. And so really big advocate for that one. Our volunteer firefighters in our firefighter community, the work they do day in and day out is yeoman's work. When everybody's running away from a fire, they're running into it. Mm-hmm. And so working on policies to help them, and the biggest one being the cancer policy, I teamed up with Representative Jason Sane, and we worked hard to get that done. It's been a huge win for our firefighter community. So military, I'm very proud not only to have a lot of retirees in my area, but I'm very proud to be the representative for Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. The 4th Fighter Wing, 4th but 1st, is a major part of our economy, not just in Wayne County, but also Eastern North Carolina. It plays a major role in the security of our country. And so I'm very proud to represent them. So anything that pops up military-wise, I make sure that I have a seat at the table.
And they host a pretty cool air show.
They have a really good air show. Yeah. I think I talked to the wing commander last week, and they've already set the date for 2 years from now. So
have you been to the Cherry Point one too?
I've not been to the Cherry Point one. So when I first got elected, I went into Craven County. Didn't go out to the Cherry Point area. But yeah, so I've been out there to the base a number of times.
They're pretty cool. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep talking to Majority Leader Bill.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
You're listening to Under the Dome. I'm News and Observer State Capitol Bureau Chief Dawn Vaughan, here with House Majority Leader John Bell. We've got a lot to cram into the second half of this. We'll see how fast we can get through
Let's do it.
All right.
Lightning round.
So we were talking about things that you talk on, bills you sponsor. Mm-hmm. You don't really talk much on like the more controversial stuff this session, like abortion. I don't think you talked on at all, or you defer to the bill sponsor, that sort of thing.
Just other people have expertise and there were other bill leaders, but it becomes my job to do all the work behind the scenes to make sure that the votes are there, the people are in place. We have the caucus discussions. If we have members that have concerns, get with those bill sponsors and navigate through that. So a lot of the stuff I do with the bigger lift bills, budget, when your more controversial bills are all done behind the scenes working with the bill sponsors.
So some other behind the scenes controversial stuff that's happened this session. The past few weeks ago, Representatives McNeely and Kidwell had one very public incident on the floor, one that other people heard, and they lost their caucus leadership positions. And obviously you had, some hand in that. What was that caucus meeting like, and the decision that, I don't know if you describe it as a censure or... No,
it wasn't a censure. It's just an unfortunate situation to happen. Both instances were very unfortunate. One was a lot more public than the other one. So some of the things that the media's reported is exactly not really what happened, but we won't go into that. But we met with our caucus leadership team, and so which is the elected caucus members, and just felt that we have a standard of being a leader in a leadership position, being the deputy whip, supposed to help keep decorum and structure on the floor. And when you violate that, it's probably in the caucus's best interest that you don't hold that position. So it was unanimous support to remove those titles. And Representative McNeely and Representative Kidwell both understood that, and we had a good conversation. Those aren't fun conversations to have. I hate that the situations happened, but they understood, and we want to protect the integrity of the caucus, and so they said they would resign those positions. We announced to the caucus, everyone understood, and then we went on with business.
Was there any discussion or thoughts on their representation on committees or leading committees, or any of that should change?
No, ma'am.
And then, of course, the big news this past week of people listening this Monday is House Speaker Tim Moore is the subject of a lawsuit for alienation of affection over a relationship he had with Moore. Has been divorced for a long time, but a state employee who said she was separated. I think everybody knows the story at this point. I had the sit-down interview with Moore about everything that he wanted to say about it, and he's taken other people's questions. How do you think? What are your thoughts on the lawsuit? Do you see it impacting caucus at all, or just the House?
The speaker called me Sunday night and gave me a heads up. This was going to happen, and I hate it for him and all parties involved. It's just not a good situation, regardless of how you look at it. But it became my job to make sure that the caucus stays focused. We have a budget to get done. We've got bills to get done. And so the speaker's been very public about the issue. And it was my job to make sure that we keep the trains running and maintain decorum in our caucus and move forward. So that's what I've been focused on this week. And that's why we're here on Thursday, and we got through the week, and we'll navigate through next week.
How long what's your relationship like with Moore, with Destin Hall, and then on the other aisle with Reeves?
So first of all, Destin's my seatmate. So we sit right beside each other, and it's important to have a great working relationship there. I've enjoyed working with Destin. He's done a great job as rules chair. So I remember when he ran for office the first time, and he got elected, and young, sharp, energetic, very talented legislator. So I've enjoyed working with him. Speaker Moore and I, he's the longest serving speaker. I'm the longest serving majority leader. We have been in the trenches a long time together. We have a great relationship. We can agree to disagree on issues. We have an open line of communication. In the day, we both work hard to get the job done for our members. And so he's responsible for the body as a whole, all 120 members. I'm responsible for the Republican caucus. And we work hand in hand to make sure that the job gets done. So we got a great working relationship both inside and outside the building when it comes to campaigns, et cetera. We'll crisscross the state. During campaign time, it's funny. There's been multiple times where I've been in the western part of the state. He's been in the eastern part of the state, and we're talking. I'm like, man, we really messed up schedules, because that way you can go home and I can go home. But good working relationship, and it's been that way for a long time. It's no secret. It's been pretty public. Robert Reeves and I, Representative Reeves and I, have a great working relationship. Friends inside and outside the building. And so enjoy working with him on issues too.
You're pretty good friends with someone in the other chamber, with Senator Perry. Yeah.
I've known Senator Perry for a long time, and we've been good friends. And in the first podcast that he did, he told everybody we were hunting buddies, and that's true. So we got into duck hunting together, and he's my plus one when it comes to cool duck hunting adventures.
What's something that that people don't know about Perry? I asked him that when he was on. I think
so. So there's multiple personalities of Senator Perry. I won't go into all of them on record, but Jim is a chief operating officer by trade. That's where he has a professional career. Mm-hmm. And so when he first got elected, I was like, man, you're gonna have a really hard time, because it does not work the way you think it's gonna work. And so we have to have conversations from time to time about dysfunction structure. Someone that comes from a very structured environment to come to the political world, it can be a little nerve. It can be a little challenging at times. So yeah.
I noticed he changed his Twitter photo recently to Grouchy Smurf. So I think
he can get a little grouchy at times, and but we've been great friends. Our families have been great friends, and it's been fun serving with one of your good friends.
All right. So what we talked a little bit about the budget. Before we get to that, I'm going to save that for part of my headliner. You've endorsed somebody for president already.
I did. I was the first state official to step out and endorse Governor DeSantis. I've been a fan of what he's done in Florida since he's been governor. It doesn't mean that I don't dislike the other candidates. It doesn't mean that whoever the nominee is, I'm not going to support, because I'm going to support a Republican nominee for president, because I just feel like that's the best path for our country. But I think Governor DeSantis brings a different style, a strong conservative background, strong conservative governance stance, and I feel like we need some new blood in Washington. So I'm hoping that he's successful in the primary.
What has he done that you like as far as legislatively, or things that he's done?
You look at the way COVID was handled in Florida, the sheer size of the economic growth of the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. Plus, he has, in politics, you have people, it's very easy to get in your corner and stay in your corner. He's been able to reach across the aisle. He's been able to win places in Florida that Republicans just haven't won for a long time, or frankly haven't won. And so as in politics, I like to grow our party. I like to grow our presence. I like to grow our representation. And he's someone that has successfully done that in Florida by leaps and bounds.
He's picked some fights with Disney World.
Well, he's picked some fights with Disney World. He's picked some other fights too. Yeah. But I also like his always on offense style. He's always on offense. He's always moving forward. Florida has been very successful the last couple of years. And so some of the policies that you have seen enacted in Florida, you see enacted in the state, especially on the economic side. He made a point to talk about the economic growth of Florida. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I hope to overtake that at some point in time here in North Carolina, because we're really aggressive on our economic growth here.
They have a lot more beaches there. And
they've got a lot more people too, and of course they're surrounded by water, which helps out the tourism industry.
And the weather.
And the weather.
Not in hurricane season.
Well, and I actually lived in Florida for a couple of years. So I lived down in Panama City Beach in my younger days, but a big fan of what he's done down there, and so yeah.
So since we're talking about higher office, you've mentioned in the past that you'd be interested in being speaker, if you stay in the in the House, would you run for Congress or anything else, or Council of State?
I feel like that my skill set and what I bring to the table is best used in state government. So, there's a place and time for that to happen. I hope that, years down the road, I just believe that there's a place and time for that to happen. And I've got a family at home. I got an 8.5-year-old daughter. I did not realize how important that half is when you're 8 years old.
Yeah.
And so my wife and daughter, I'm blessed to be able to go home every night and see them. I want to see my daughter grow up. So I feel like I have a couple more years left to serve. And there'll be time for somebody to come up here and bring new ideas to the table. So I'm not a lifer by any means up here, but no, I feel like state government's where I need to be.
What's your commute? Like an hour and a half?
Oh shoot, no! I can do it less than an hour with this new highway infrastructure and investment we've put in. I can do it about 50 to 55 minutes on a good day.
We're gonna see up in the speed limit bills.
No, because people drive too fast as it is. But if I can do it in about 50 minutes, if there's no traffic, and so but somebody always messes up at that 70 interchange on 40 from Garner. And so it's only an hour and 15 minutes. So, yeah.
All right. So let's talk about food. Again, the Legislative Cafeteria. What's your favorite thing? What's your pick there?
Fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and banana pudding.
Oh, okay.
And I enjoyed it so much that my doctor told me I needed to lose some weight. So I hit that husky level.
Fried chicken is Tuesdays. It's really good. And
Thursdays sometimes. So, okay. So, the fried chicken is great. They got really good macaroni and cheese. They used to have. They stopped doing that some, so I had to convert to green beans and broccoli for my health. But that banana pudding is delicious.
Okay, all right. I think we probably had more votes for fried chicken than anything else, but it
because
really
it's
good. Yeah, I think even people who don't only have the cafeteria as a choice.
And so now when I go in there, I try to eat a salad and eat healthier. And they got a great salad bar, but I will break down and get that. I'm not gonna lie, I make 2 or 3 scoops of banana pudding. Not just one, but it's good.
You gotta, if you're call and if you're doing it. All right, so we're down to headliner of the week. Who or what is your headliner of the week?
Demon Deacons win College World Series.
Okay.
So they've had an outstanding run, a great season. As we're taping this, they got a big game tonight. I hope they're able to knock off LSU. And it would be a awesome experience to have them come to the North Carolina General Assembly as national champions. Yeah,
that would be cool. My headliner is July, hot budget summer, July 2023, which is late, but not really. It's actually early. I make the jokes every year with the budget that, is it like going to be fall, whatever? We're kind of early, even though it's past the fiscal year.
Kind of, but not really.
I know. Right? no,
it's
legislative time.
You always shoot for that July mark.
Yeah.
And our budget chairs have done an outstanding job. They're working real hard on the House and Senate side. And so I think by the end of the month, we'll be really close to a budget agreement. You should probably see us vote on it on the first
second week, because vacation.
Vacation,
week,
so about second week in July. I think we're on track to do that.
Yeah. All right. So y'all.
I sure hope we don't go to August.
Yeah.
Or September or like we did years ago where we just never left for 2 years. So I hope we don't do that again.
I think sometime in July. I mean, there's like no vote sessions that July 4th week. So everyone's got their break. And when they come back, they're like, all right.
Everybody be happy.
Yeah. Let's decide about the taxes and reserves. And
we're getting there. Those conversations are happening. And we got briefed by our budget chairs and the speaker this morning, this afternoon on where we're at. So we're getting there. We're getting close.
Is it still taxes and reserves or the two main?
It's always something. Yeah. It's always something.
But raises are pretty settled, right?
For the most part. And then, you got to look at the additional, the taxes. You got to look at some other appropriation issues that are still out there.
You want to announce the raises amount for any state employees listening?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to steal the budget folks' thunder. So they've done a really good job.
Okay. All right. Well, we're out of time. I'd like to thank, Majority Leader Bell.
Hey, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to visit.
And his office in the LOB for those of you that are watching the recording of it. So, all right. For the News and Observer, I'm Dawn Vaughan. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
For more from our politics team, subscribe to the News and Observer at newsobserver.com/subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Under the Dome and NC Insider, and sign up for our weekly political newsletter, also called Under the Dome, at newsobserver.com/newsletters. Thanks for listening.